Zenless Zone Zero's 2.0 update has been peak so far, and there's one character you need to get your hands on during this update, and that's Yixuan. Not only does she have her own ether damage type, but with her being the new Rupture class agent, she can ignore all enemy defense. So if you've been pulling for Yixuan and you want a guide on her, I got you. We have a lot to cover, so let's not waste any time and dive right into it. If you are debating on pulling for Yixuan, which I highly recommend doing, her strengths do include having powerful X special and ultimate damage. Number 2, she's very tanky thanks to her kit scaling off of HP. Number 3, she ignores enemy defense with her kit, like 100%. It's really cool, and I'll explain that later. And lastly, she does have some free-to-play and A-rank friendly team options. As a general overview, Yixuan is an Auric Inc. Rupture agent under the new faction Yunkui Summit and has the title of Grandmaster. So she's the only other character outside of Miyabi that has her own title and specific damage type. Auric Inc. is its own unique ether damage type, and it has its own anomaly buildup. It'll still trigger corruption like ether does and can also cause disorder even with other ether agents. Like I mentioned, Rupture is a new agent class. Agents with the Rupture speciality possess great offense and survival capabilities, excelling at using sheer damage that ignores enemy defenses to deal massive damage. As you can see under her stats, normally where pen ratio would be, we actually have the sheer force stat, and instead of energy regen, we actually have adrenaline. The sheer force stat increases sheer damage, and Rupture agents have a portion of their attack actually converted into sheer force. So think of this as another attack stat, essentially. Adrenaline is essentially energy regen. Again, you gain it back per second, you get it back from hitting enemies, but it is not affected by any energy regen stats, so that will not help you get more, so keep that in mind. And if you want to get her up to max level, here are all the materials you're going to need. For the Rupture chips, just like with any other agent chips, you're going to have to come under combat simulation, go under agent promotion, and then do the new Rupture drill. And again, there is a new drill for the Rupture engines as well called the Rupture Resonator test. For what skills prioritize upgrading first on Yixuan, definitely her core skills. These are a big one. For our regular skills though, we definitely want our ultimate and our special attack up there first. These ones play a huge part in her kit. After that, you can do the basic attack, the dodge, and then lastly, assist. And here are all the materials you're going to need to upgrade all of these skills. For the ether chips, go back under combat simulation again, go under agent skill, and then do the resonance test. For our expert challenge material, there's a new boss we can fight called the Miasma Ravager Avarice, which is kind of like that big miasma beetle, and you need to defeat him for the miasmic Elytron. Same thing with Notorious Hunt. We actually have a new boss to fight called the Miasma Priest, which you're going to need to defeat him for the Exuvia of Refinement material. To maximize Yixuan's damage, we need to understand exactly how her kit works, including consuming adrenaline to get technique points to activate her second ultimate. But first, there's a few things we need to talk about under her core passive, Grandmaster of Mysticism. She gains extra sheer force based on her max HP, so with every 1 point of max HP, it increases her sheer force by 0.1. All of her Auric Inc. damage is considered sheer damage, ignoring enemy defense, and she uses the sheer force stat as a damage multiplier. Her Auric Inc. ether type has its own specific anomaly buildup, and when you trigger an anomaly, she actually restores 10 additional adrenaline and can trigger once every 10 seconds. Upon entering combat, Yixuan immediately restores all adrenaline, and if you're in the investigation zone, this can trigger once every 3 minutes. Triggering a perfect dodge grants an additional 5 adrenaline, which can occur once per second. Adrenaline is essentially her energy bar, and the only way to consume it is by using special attacks. First up is her X special attack, Ink Manifestation. So as long as you have adrenaline, you can either tap or hold this button, and it does a couple of different things. You could tap or release the button to attack the target with it, but if timed up properly, you can actually perform a block effect. So if you're holding down the button to charge it, incoming attacks are automatically blocked and will activate the upward wing attack. If you're hit at the exact moment charging begins, it triggers a perfect block effect, negating the damage and increasing the skill's interrupt level to match a heavy defense assist and will recover 10 adrenaline. Or if you're feeling confident, you can actually tap the X special attack button during an enemy's red or yellow flash attack, still perform the perfect block, negate the hit, increase the skill's interrupt level to match a defense assist, and recover 10 adrenaline. Now what's cool is after performing the skill, you can keep pressing the special attack button to perform X special attack Celestial Cloud Blitz Break. This will do 2 attacks, and as long as you have enough adrenaline afterwards, you could continue pressing the special attack button to consume 20 adrenaline and launch X special attack Qingming Eruption Break. You'll know you've done this attack when you see the wings pop out of her back and you'll deal some massive Auric Inc. damage. The second attack we can use to consume adrenaline is X special attack Cloud Shaper, so as long as you have enough, you can actually hold down your basic attack button to activate this. You'll charge up this Auric Inc. orb dealing damage over 2 seconds. Once it's fully charged or you're interrupted, it automatically triggers X special attack Ashen Ink Becomes Shadows, which is an extra burst attack afterwards. At the moment the skill is activated, a perfect dodge can be triggered, and after the perfect dodge, you'll enter the vital view state, which means everything is slowed down for you. And by the way, during all of these X special attacks, your character is completely invulnerable, which means you're not going to take any damage. Every time you use those skills to consume adrenaline, she'll accumulate what's called technique points. You can actually see that build up in a bar under her character icon. As long as that bar is full, that means you have enough technique points to trigger an additional ultimate, Endless Talisman Suppression. If you look at the ultimate, it actually has a different icon with a gold color to it. This is that second ultimate. Once you use the skill, you'll go through the animation, deal some massive Auric ink damage, and gain 1 Auric ink point, which you can see next to the bar under her character icon. With this Auric ink point, you can actually hold down your dodge button to perform basic attack Auric Array, and if you hold it down right after you use the ultimate Endless Talisman Suppression, you actually redistribute the entire squad's HP. You'll also continuously recover adrenaline for Yixuan, enter the vital view state, and when the skill ends or it reaches this max duration, you'll perform basic attack Qingming Eruption, which again is that wing attack that deals massive Auric ink damage, and you're invulnerable during this entire skill. Coming back to the ultimate, if you thought that first one was cool, her regular one, Qingming Sky Shade, has an even crazier animation. On top of dealing some massive damage, this skill also evenly redistributes the squad's HP. The last thing to note under her core passive is that the damage dealt by that basic attack Auric Array, basic attack Qingming Eruption, X special attack, an assist follow-up from a defense assist, chain attack, and ultimate, all that damage is increased by 60% at max. And with her additional ability, Auric Ink Undercurrent, when another character in your squad is either a stun, support, or defense, when a fellow squad member uses an ultimate, Yixuan continuously recovers 2 adrenaline over 10 seconds. If Yixuan is switched out by a perfect assist, she automatically follows up with a lightning strike attack, dealing damage equal to 225% of her sheer force and restoring an additional 5 adrenaline. X special attack Cloud Shaper and X special attack Ashen Ink Become Shadows deals 30% increased damage to stunned enemies, so that held basic attack will deal more damage to them. After activating her ultimate, Yixuan enters the meditation state, increasing her crit damage by 40% for 15 seconds. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure her additional ability is procced. Even though I recommend using the X special attacks as much as possible to consume adrenaline to get that extra ultimate and the Auric ink point, she does have some other attacks, which include a basic attack 5, a normal version of that held dodge attack, and if you don't have any adrenaline, there is a regular special attack that can also proc a perfect dodge. And the last thing I'll mention is actually her own unique movement type called Nimbus Step. As long as you're moving, you can actually hold the dodge button to activate the light as air state, where she actually grabs onto the bird and you float around. And if you're in the investigation zone, you can actually automatically collect all the resources there just by running by them. I know that was a lot of information, so if you're a little confused, let me break it down in a simple damage rotation. The first thing we want to do is make sure we have adrenaline so we can use our X special attacks. And again, usually at the start of combat, you will be at full adrenaline, but if not, again, it does regenerate over time, and you get it by dodging and attacking, so it's very easy to accumulate it. Number 2, use your X special attacks to consume adrenaline and get those free perfect blocks. Again, by either holding the X special attack button or tapping it at the right time, you will be able to perform a perfect block and also gain some extra adrenaline, which means you can use more of these attacks. Or you can hold down that basic attack to have her draw up that talisman and summon that orb of Auric ink. And again, both of these attacks, while consuming adrenaline, will also give you technique points. Number 3, once your technique points gauge is full, use her special ultimate, Endless Talisman Suppression. Again, this skill will deal a lot of damage, and remember, after the skill, you gain that Auric ink point, which means you can actually hold down your dodge button to perform that basic attack Auric Array. After that, some main things to note is that you can use her ultimate whenever you'd like. Again, using an ultimate when the enemy is stunned is definitely preferable, so you can deal more damage. And remember, that held basic attack to perform that X special attack with the orb actually deals more damage to stunned targets, so keep that in mind. And lastly, if you need to get moving and you're running, hold down the dodge button, enter the light as air state, and proc Nimbus Step. But if you're still in combat, you can essentially rinse and repeat these steps. Again, switching between characters for blocking, for quick assist, and all that stuff is totally fine as well. But it does go to show that Yixuan can really hold her own. For Yixuan's best W engine, since we have the new Rupture type, that means we have new Rupture engines to choose from, and her signature, Qingming Birdcage, is easily a must-have. You get a base attack and an HP percentage increase, and with this perk Cloud Flow, you also get a crit rate increase of 20%. Note this is at rank 1. When the equipper launches an X special attack, the character gains 1 stack of Qingming companion effect, stacking up to 2 times and lasting 15 seconds. When you enter combat, you immediately gain 2 stacks, and repeated triggers will reset the duration. Each stack of it increases the equipper's ether damage by 8%, and increases ultimate and X special attack ether sheer damage by 10%. Since her signature is the only S-rank Rupture engine we have at the moment, I highly recommend it, but we do have 2 A ranks and 1 B rank engine you can use. The first one I recommend is Radio Wave Journey, which you can get from the Battle Pass. You still get that base attack and HP percentage bump, and with this perk, Easy Strides, when launching a chain attack or an ultimate, the equipper gains 1 stack of a buff. Each stack increases the equipper's sheer force by a number, stacking up to 3 times, lasting 12 seconds. The only other A-rank engine is Puzzle Sphere, which you can buy from Box Galaxy as long as you have the materials. You get a base and attack percentage bump, and with this perk, Ingenious Craft, upon launching an X special attack, the equipper's crit damage increases by a percentage for 12 seconds. Additionally, if the target's current HP is below 50% of their max HP, X special attack damage increases by a percentage. And the last one is the B-rank engine, Cinder Cobalt. Again, if you don't have any other engines, or if you're someone who's brand new to the game, this one will be just fine. But like I said, I do highly recommend her signature. If you don't do that, definitely grab one of the A-rank ones. For Yixuan's best drive disc, we're looking at 4-piece Yunkui Tails with either 2-piece Woodpecker Electro, Chaotic Metal, or Branch and Blade Song. This 4-piece set is essentially Yixuan's catered set. At 2 pieces, you get a 10% HP bonus, which is going to help with her sheer force damage through her core passive. And at 4 pieces, when using your X special attack, chain attack, or ultimate, you get a crit rate increase by 4%, stacking up to 3 times, lasting 15 seconds. Repeated triggers reset the duration. When having 3 stacks of this effect, sheer damage also gets a 10% increase. The reason you'd want 2-piece Woodpecker Electro is for the 8% crit rate increase. With 2-piece Chaotic Metal, you get the 10% ether damage increase, which will help her Auric ink damage. Or if you're good on crit rate and you want some more crit damage, that's why you'd use 2-piece Branch and Blade Song for the 16% increase to crit damage. For our disc main stats, at our 4th disc, we're looking at either crit rate or crit damage, at our 5th, ether damage, and at our 6th, HP percentage. And for our substats, we're looking for crit rate and crit damage, any HP we can get, and then lastly, attack. For Yixuan's best teams, if you're free to play, pairing her up with Ambi and Sukaku with a Night Boo is decent. Ambi as your stunner is okay. The main thing with Sukaku is that she actually can buff attack, which will be good for Yixuan overall. But if you're able to get Lucy and Poker for free during previous updates, that is probably the best free-to-play team you can use. For a generalist team, your best option is pairing her up with the new A-rank Pawn and Astra with the Belly and Bang Boo. The reason Pawn is so good is because he can actually buff sheer force damage, and I will be making my own dedicated video about him on the channel as well. After using his X special attack, it will trigger a quick assist to the previous character, so if you have Yixuan as your first and Pawn as your second, you can go back to her, and he actually does his own set of attacks after that as well that will weaken the target even more. And obviously Astra providing the attack and crit damage buffs, which is good for the team overall. You can also use Caesar instead of Astra here as well. Again, she'll be able to have decent days build up on top of giving you an attack buff and the shield. You can still summon characters like Coletto, Poker, and Lucy, but one team that's really cool is pairing her up with Miyabi, so now you have the double Void Hunter team. The only other character would be Jufufu, but she doesn't release until the second half of this update, so we'll just have to wait and see. The last thing we'll talk about is Yixuan's Mindscape Cinema, and is it worth getting multiple copies of her? Her M1, Spiritual Path. Upon entering combat, not only do you get a 10% crit rate increase, you immediately gain full technique points, which means you can use that special ultimate right off the bat. When any squad member lands a hit on an enemy, Yixuan automatically summons an extra lightning strike, dealing damage equal to 50% of her sheer force and restoring 5 additional adrenaline. This can trigger once every 6 seconds. Her M2, Ward Off Misfortune. When an ultimate or X special attack deals damage, it ignores 15% of the target's ether res. Triggering her regular ultimate extends all enemy stun state by 3 seconds. In a single stun state duration, enemies can only have this effect applied once. Additionally, when you use her special ultimate, you'll gain 1 stack of condensed ink. After her basic attack Qingming Eruption or X special attack Ashen Ink Becomes Shadows, press the basic attack button, or after your X special attack Qingming Eruption break, press the special attack button to consume 1 stack of condensed ink and launch X special attack Endless Talisman Suppression break, dealing damage up to 1200% of sheer force. Essentially, you get another flippin' ultimate nuke skill that deals some crazy damage. M2 is nuts. All characters M3 just gives a +2 level bonus to their skills, so let's talk about her M4, the One Path of Mysticism. Activating an ultimate grants 1 stack of Tranquility up to a max of 2 stacks. For each stack, the next X special attack Cloud Shaper damage and X special attack Ashen Ink Become Shadows damage increase by 30%. So that held basic attack Orb attack that deals more damage to stun targets, it's another damage increase. All characters M5s also give another +2 level bonus to their skills, so let's talk about her last one, M6, Swift Yet Still. After using her regular ultimate, gain a stack of regulated breathing effect. While under this effect, you can ignore the technique point cost to launch ultimate endless talisman suppression once, which again is her special one. The regulated breathing effect ends after this ultimate is used. This effect can only be gained once every 30 seconds. Only one stack of regulated breathing can be held. Additionally, while in the meditation state, Yixuan's sheer damage is increased by 20%. Overall, M1 is really good, but M2 is the perfect stopping point. And if you want to go all the way to M6, you're going to have one of the most broken characters in the game. The reason M1 is so good is because it just provides quality of life stuff. Automatic crit rate increase, free full technique points right at the beginning of combat, which means you can use her special ultimate right off the bat, and also allows for off-field DPS. But M2 is just way too good. Not only do you get the ether resistance shred, you get an increase to the stun duration, but the massive boost in just the amount of sheer force damage you're going to get in is absolutely disgusting. And obviously M6 giving you pretty much a free extra ultimate and increase to the damage is disgusting. When I initially heard that her kit was going to scale off of HP, I was a little skeptical about how well she was going to perform, and especially since she has her own title and her own specific damage type, on top of being the first Rupture class agent in the game. But suffice it to say, I am pleasantly surprised. Not only being one of the strongest characters in the game right beside Miyabi, but also having some of the coolest animations that the devs have made so far. It just makes her amazing. Plus right now, if you pull for Yixuan, both Pawn and Polka both have higher drop rates, which means if you get her and these two A-rank characters, you have a solid team going into the 2.0 update. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. How are you liking Yixuan, and how are your pulls going? I got very lucky. I was not guaranteed on the character or the engine, and I got both. I did lose my second one to Lycon, but I at least have her M1 for now. I think I have to save the rest of my pulls for when Jufufu comes out. In any event, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell next to notification so you don't miss out on any other Zenless Zone Zero content we have coming out on the channel. If you didn't know, we live stream here on the channel and also over on Twitch. That link will be in the description. There are drops occasionally for Zenless Zone Zero, so if you want some extra polychrome and some other rewards, be sure to tune in to the stream. Also, be sure to join my Discord. If you got a great stat roll, if you have a good build going for a character, if you have a clip you want to share, we have an entire channel dedicated to Zenless Zone Zero. But we also talk about a variety of other games on top of PC tech, anime, and more. Lastly, if you want to help support the channel even more, you can look into becoming a member. Now, if you don't know what a membership is, it's essentially like a Twitch subscription. Granted, it's cheaper over here on YouTube, but you're going to get access to the exclusive emotes, the monthly badges, and other cool stuff, including early access to all my long-form videos. So if you'd like more information, all you have to do is press the join button next subscribe, and that'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next video.